It says drag and drop the appropriate parts of an inequality into the boxes to form a complete inequality that represents a description. Max has less than 5 carrots. Number of carrots Max has equals C. The inequality that describes this situation is. So we have little things to pick and choose from. The symbol that we're going to use is less than. Okay, so you have greater than or equal to, less than, greater than, less than or equal to. Less than is going to go in the middle. And then what are we going to put here? So 5, Max has less than 5, less than 5. And then they tell us that C represents the number that he has. So C is less than 5. And then with these, you can check your answer. And I'll tell you if you got it correct or if you need to fix something. You can click on the example to see an example. You click on step by step if you're not really sure what to do. And then it will check your work as you're trying it. You could go back to the original question, or it might make you do a different new question depending on if you saw the answer in the example or not. All right, so question 2 is very similar. I'm not going to do that one. Question 3, enter an inequality that represents the description and then solve. So our description is twice a number x is less than 10. And so when I click in this box for inequality, now I'm going to be able to type that inequality. So twice a number x, that's the first part of it. Twice a number x. Twice means to multiply by 2. Okay, and so the unknown number is represented by x. So I'm going to put 2x. So I'm going to type that, 2x. And then less than. Now, this is a part that you have to be careful about because it is confusing. I want the less than symbol, and if I look at all these symbols that popped up, it's not here. Okay, I have less than or equal to. I have greater than or equal to, but I do not have less than. I do not have greater than. The reason why is less than and greater than are in the same place that we just found 2 and x. They are on your keyboard. So you look at your keyboard and look at the comma button. You'll see there's where the less than symbol is. You have to press shift and then that button to get the less than symbol. Right next to it, the period button you would use when you type. Above it, you press shift, you get the greater than symbol. So when you need those symbols, you have to actually type them. They will not pop up in that blue, this thing here. You won't see it, right? And then what are we missing? It is less than 10. Okay, and I just typed in 10. So before I can check my answer, I'm forgetting something. And if I check it, I think it'll just tell me, try again. Yes. Okay. Twice a number means to multiply a number by 2. It's giving me a hint. There's probably a general hint depending on if you missed it or not. Use the division property of inequality to solve the inequality. So the second part to this question says the solution to the inequality is we have to solve this. So now I'm going to come to the Jamboard. And I'm going to type 2x is less than 10. Because this is what I'm going to be solving. Solving an inequality is just like solving an equation. The only difference is you have to watch out for when you multiply or divide by a negative. If you multiply or divide by a negative, you have to reverse your sign. Okay. I'm going to type that here. Inequality is like solving an equation, but if you multiply or divide by a negative number, then you must reverse your sign. Okay, so that's just something to keep in mind. I'm not sure if we have problems that show up like that in this assignment. It's possible they could. I did not see one last period, but there could be one. So anyhow, if I'm going to solve this just like a regular equation, okay, using those kind of steps, I could think about using, let's use box and wall. Box my variable, wall coming down. 2 and x are being multiplied, so I'm going to use inverse operations, which means I am going to divide by 2. And the wall reminds me that on this side you need to divide by 2. 2 divided by 2 is good old 1x. Symbol stays the same. 10 divided by 2 is 5. And when we're typing our inequalities, it's not wrong to have a 1 here. You just typically don't write it. So this is actually just x is less than 5. And if I come over here and type that, x, shift on the keyboard. Oh, wait, I accidentally had my cap locks on. So don't capitalize x or I'll probably tell you wrong. You need to keep it lowercase. X is less than 5. And I am going to then check my answer. And now it likes my answer because I have both parts. Okay. So why don't you guys go ahead and get started, because numbers 1 through 4, I just covered how to do numbers 1 through 4. All right. And in about 5 minutes, I'll go over how to do 5. All right. So, and here's our question for 5. And your question for 5 is going to be very similar, but you might have different numbers. They keep switching the numbers around on you, but the whole concept is the same. Dave has $13 to spend on a $6 book and 2 birthday cards for his friends. How much can he spend on each card if he buys the same card for each friend? So we're going to write an inequality, and then we're going to solve it. On your tests that you took, where you had to type an inequality, so many of you wanted to type an equal sign. So an equation has an equal sign. An inequality has an inequality symbol. And so from this information, we're going to be able to go ahead and write an inequality. So if we think about, if we go shopping, if you go out to the store and you have $13 in your pocket and you're going to buy some stuff, you cannot spend more than $13. You can spend $13 exactly. You could spend $12. You could spend $11. You could spend $10. You can spend all these numbers less than that, but you can't go and spend $15 because you don't have it. So that's why this is an inequality. So we want to show that it could be equal to 13 or less than 13. And I'm going to actually show you it written 2 ways, because you could think of it in 2 different ways. Okay, so anyhow, Dave has $13. That's what he's got. And then we're going to go to the store. I'm just going to leave this area blank, okay, because we're going to put a symbol right here. He's going to spend $6 on a book. And if you remember, the word and means add. And he's buying 2 birthday cards, but we don't know the price of the card. All we know is that a card is a mystery amount, and so they tell us to use the variable C. So $6 plus 2 of the cost of the card, whatever that is. Now, when I add this up and I get my total, this amount could be 13 exactly, okay? But this amount cannot be bigger than 13. It has to be less than 13. Okay, so that's why this is pointing to the smaller amount. And then I said I'm going to write 2 ways. So you can actually take and put this expression first, 6 plus 2c, and then put 13 on this side. But if I do that, I can't just rewrite the symbol. Okay, you have to think about it. This amount has to be smaller than that amount, or it could be equal to it. So when I reverse the pieces, then I had to switch the symbol, which this is why that reversing your sign part comes in. Because I could think about when you multiply by a negative, it's the same kind of situation. You're reversing the sign because you're changing the relationship. Okay, so anyhow, this is what we're going to type here. So 6 plus 2c is, now I have less than or equal to. I can't type this symbol. This symbol's not on your keyboard. That's why you have to use the one that pops up. That's here, less than or equal to, and then 13. But I don't want to turn it in yet because I need to solve it. So I need to know, Dave can spend up to blank dollars on each card. That means, what does C equal? C is the cost of the card. C equals cost of a card. And that's what they're asking me. How much can he spend on each card? Well, what is the cost of a card? So this is what I have to solve. So I am going to type this over here. So 6 plus 2c. I'll just draw in the symbol since I can't really do it. 13. And then make that bigger. Okay, so there's the equation. I'm going to solve this. And I can do box and wall again like I did before. Okay, so C is my variable that I have to solve for. C is being multiplied by 2, and I have 6 being added to it. It's easiest if I get rid of the plus 6 first. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to subtract 6 on the left, and because I do that to the left, I'm going to also subtract 6 on the right. It's okay that it's minus 6. That doesn't change anything with the sign because it's only when you multiply or divide by a negative you have to worry about reversing it. Adding and subtracting doesn't matter. So those go away. And then what I'm left with is 2c, and 13 minus 6 is 7. So I'm going to make this larger, so it's right here. Okay, I still have the same symbol, not changing. There's one thing left to do though to solve this equation. Okay, you can still think about box and wall if you want. That helps you understand, that's fine. And now this inequality looks an awful lot like this inequality. 2 and c are being multiplied, so I'm going to divide by 2. I'm going to divide by 2. Those cancel, and I could write 1c, but really c is all I need. Bring my inequality down. It's the same. I did not multiply or divide by negatives. 7 divided by 2. We're talking about cost, and so to me, a fraction, if I ask you how much does something cost you and you tell me it costs 7 halves of a dollar, then that doesn't make a lot of sense. But, you know, 7 halves is the same as 3 and 5/10. So I'm going to change that to 3.50. And now my cost is less than or equal to $3.50. So that's what I'm going to put here. You can spend up to, which the cost is, it could be $3.50 or it could be less than that. So it's 3.5. And then if I check it, oh good, it's correct. I still get worried that it'll be incorrect even when I'm teaching you guys. All right, so spend some more time working on this. About another 5 minutes, and then I'm going to explain assignment 28.